Thank you, Presiding Officer. Forced adoptions where women were made or coerced by those more powerful than them to give up their babies, as many young Scottish women were forced to do so in the 50s, 60s and even in the 70s, were perhaps amongst the most heinous of injustices our society inflicted on women. A tragedy for all involved. A tragedy for the babies taken from their mother's arms and forced to live with no knowledge of their birth parents or wider family. A tragedy for families whose relationships were often broken beyond repair. A tragedy for the women shamed and shunned by society. We should never forget or ignore the appalling cruelties inflicted on these young women, some of whom we would now perceive as children themselves, and the lack of power and agency they then had. I therefore congratulate my colleague Monica Lennon for facilitating this debate. Forced adoption is one of the greatest hidden, untold scandals of the 20th century. The scale outlined by Monica Lennon and others is truly staggering. It's nearly 5 years since STV screened a documentary on this subject, exposing the injustice of forced adoption on national television, and yet women and their children are still waiting for the Scottish Government to issue an apology on behalf of the entire nation.